The Mummy's doing super well. I don't think it's a coincidence that you see that be number one at Peacock and that kind of take over streaming, and then articles come out about how this, Brendan Fraser movie from the 90s has blown up, and then a couple weeks later you get Brendan Fraser's in talks to return for Mummy 4.
Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. It is always good to be talking with my brother, L.S. Goodish. We were just, before rolling, we were like, we should just start, because otherwise we're going to spoil the whole entire podcast episode by talking about the topic beforehand. But how are you doing this morning, brother?
Doing good, man. It's, I got like a different day today. My Tuesdays are always pretty weird, but we're actually going to go to a show, like a Broadway show type of thing, not Broadway, but at our theater. And so I love plays, I love musicals, haven't been in a long time. Plus it's an excuse to wear nice outfits, suit up. Dude. So I'm looking forward to that tonight.
Well, that's too cool. What are you seeing?
It's called Six. I guess it's like about the six wives of some king. I don't know. Shauna wanted to see it. I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna go there for the experience. But how was your vacation, dude?
I'll get to that. No, you're good. I was gonna say this is a primo example of being like a tourist in your own hometown. So that's super cool. Right. Where it's like, dude, you get to go do the cool things you would do. I mean, how many people go to New York City to go to Broadway? Like, you could just go to a local theater. I think around me there's one or two really like high quality theaters. So yeah, dude, sick. That sounds awesome. You have to update us later on how that goes. Vacation was really cool. What was that?
That's absolutely. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Sorry. Yeah, vacation was really good. It was more of a sit around and not do much vacation, which is good to have those every once in a while. But I usually am like, if I'm going on vacation, I want it to be action-packed. So it was pretty good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed not doing much. So it was good stuff. And I got to make a sick little Magnum compilation video, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was so super sweet.
Thanks,
if you haven't seen that on Instagram yet, you got to go check that out. I said it in the comment. I think Tom Selleck would be proud. And that's it made me so sad that we didn't get you in the remake instead of who we got. Not to rip on the guy, I don't even know who he is, but I remember that was Jim and I. We made with that joke of like, we have Magnum PI at home. We always just like would send pictures of that guy, like the Magnum PI at home. And I think you pulled off a really good Magnum. It made me sad that we didn't get that version.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. I was tempted to tag like CBS or ABC in the Instagram post. Yeah. Like, what are you guys doing? Or even, I don't think Tom Selleck has a Instagram, but I remember, speaking of Magnum and Tom Selleck, I remember an interview I saw with him, and I think somebody asked him, they were like, how do you feel about the Magnum reboot? And he was like, it was the classic just confidence. It wasn't like arrogant or anything, but he was like, well, it's not going to work. And they're like, why won't it work? And he said, because they don't have me in it. I was like, damn, this guy does know that he was the glue that held Magnum together. And I mean, sure enough, that show, it's been canceled, and it only came out like less than 10 years ago. So did not have a long run at all. So
yeah, probably longer than it should, but Magnum's legacy is everyone's going to think of Tom Selleck. There's no other way. There's just simply no other way.
Speaking of, and we're very early in, but this was a recommendation from you. It's the Hotel Costiera or something like that. Yeah. It is like junior grade Magnum. It's kind of like pretty similar in the sense that the concept is a lot of the same thing. Like, I don't know what the guy's name is. I think his name is Daniel DeLuca in the show, but he's a pretty famous
Grey's Anatomy guy, right?
Yeah, heartthrob guy. That's what my wife...
Handsome as heck.
Yeah, my wife was going on about that. And I was like, no, dude, come on. She even said to me as we were watching, she was like, this guy or Tom Selleck? I was like, obviously
Tom
Tom
Selleck, what are we
Selleck.
doing here?
And she's like, I don't know, this guy's really attractive. I was like,
No.
I don't think I look very much like Tom Selleck, but I definitely look more like Tom Selleck than I look like the guy from Grey's Anatomy. So like, you're kind of hurting my feelings. Like, what's going on? But anyways, I digress. So basically, he is a fixer essentially for this really big hotel in, I think it's Italy. I think it's like Portofino or something like that. Or there's another name that I can't think of, but he's right on the coast of Italy, and beautiful houses, super rich people, and he just does exactly what Magnum would do. It's like a weird twist on the Magnum idea of, because Thomas Magnum works for Robin Masters on his estate as like the security guy, and then he takes the cases on top of that, which I mean, if you're watching the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast, you probably already know all that. But this guy is just bumming it around, and he ends up at this hotel with kind of like no direction, and he ends up being the security guy, the fixer for all the guests. So we've only watched one episode, and it's like definitely has a layer of cheesiness that could leave and the show would be better for. But he is a very well-adjusted, comprehensive man who's going through some like weird mental stuff, trying to figure it out at the same time, just being a badass dude. So it's pretty good. I'm not giving it like a 10 out of 10 or a massive recommendation because we have watched a single episode, but so far it's enough for me to be like, all right, we got to watch some more. So pretty cool. Thank you for that rec.
Yeah, no problem. And I recommended it off just the marketing material. So don't, if you're looking for me for further recommendation, I have not seen it. But I saw the like poster and then like little trailer for it, and I just knew. I was like, dude, Nathaniel's gonna love this, especially because I know you watch stuff with your wife, and I was like, this is the perfect kind of like wife husband watch right here, because sure. It seems like it has lighter tones to it, or some kind of like comedic tones that would be enjoyable for people who aren't just looking for straight action, but definitely has the action in it. So
dude, it's pretty good. I remember
when the point of Amazon just has all the stuff.
Yeah, dude. No doubt. I remember when you recommended it to me, I was like, I'm not sure, because I looked at just the IMDb and I saw just the poster, and then it's got a very low rating on IMDb. But then, to your point, dude, of Amazon having like 6 of their top 10 being men's adventure fiction stuff, I was looking through that, and this was number 4 or 3 on there, the Hotel Costiera, and the trailer started playing. I was like, oh, okay, he was actually right. This does look pretty sick. But yeah, dude, what were you gonna say? You want to bring us around with the Amazon conversation?
Yeah, I mean, that is ultimately going to be where we land, right? But I think it's just interesting to look at from you and I's perspective of when we go on to, honestly, any streaming service for the most part. I'll do like an actual look this week maybe and see which ones have like the most men's adventure fiction top 10s to the least. I would imagine somewhere like Netflix would have the least. Yeah. But you look at something like Amazon, and to your point, like 6 to 7 of the 10 in the top 10 are, without a question, without a doubt, men's adventure fiction content, like they're masculine action stories. And then you go on Peacock, and The Mummy hasn't moved from #1 spot for like weeks. It's interesting to see the hunger and kind of desire and the things that we talk about, this empty hole in the market being shown in a place like the streaming services. And
yeah, it is really interesting to see, because we've talked a lot about like, oh, there's a big hole in the market for this sort of content. And I still think that that's true, but it also seems like people know that, and they're making good stuff for it. But I think that and this is something we talked about a little bit. I think number 10 or 9 was Terminal List, and then I can't remember what else was next. I think there's something in between, but the next one was the Jason Statham Working Man movie. And we talked about that a little bit, I think, over the phone. It's like, that seems super, like, I'm pumped that people are enjoying it, but I'm having a hard time getting around to watching it. And I think for me, it's because it doesn't seem like it has any of the kind of exotic high adventure side to it. From my understanding of seeing the trailer and the fact that he's wearing a hard hat on the cover of the movie, it looks like it's very much like kind of like the first or second episode of the Punisher TV show, where he's just working in a construction spot, fighting people and getting mixed up and stuff. And that that was already done so well in that I kind of don't feel any desire to watch The Working Man yet. Although I should definitely get on it because it's been in the top 10 for probably like 6 or 7 weeks at this point. But
Right.
I think that's kind of what we are able to see and bring to the table, is that all of these are pretty solid, but there still seems to be a dearth of high adventure, and people love high adventure even if they don't know it yet. But I mean, dude, it is super encouraging to see all of that. I mean, the Terminal List Dark Wolf is up there at the top. Hotel Costiera, which is, like I said, about a pretty cool, comprehensive man. And then Play Dirty is number one and has been number one. I mean, we are just locked and loaded with some really good men's adventure fiction stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah, man. It's definitely, I think the market will correct, right? If they keep seeing the number one spots, they're not, the boardrooms are not, they're not looking at these numbers. They're going to see this stuff and go, okay. And then we're going to start greenlighting more of these projects. Oh, The Mummy's doing super well. I don't think it's a coincidence that you see that be number one at Peacock and that kind of take over streaming, and then articles come out about how this, Brendan Fraser movie from the 90s has blown up. And then a couple weeks later, you get Brendan Fraser's in talks to return for Mummy 4. It's like, yeah, Mummy 4 is a 70% more likely chance now. I'm just making numbers up, but it has a way bigger chance now than before. So it's great to see. It's good to see that things are turning.
To the encouragement of anyone watching who's like, oh man, we're missing the train. I don't think that that's true at all, because you sent me a really, really good video, I believe, about the best way to, it was something about like the proof of concept short film is no longer around. Instead, people want to see a short story, which is super cool for anybody who likes writing and has been wanting to break into the filmmaking game, is write a badass short story and start publishing that and get that out there. Because to that point, and I thought about this a lot, like I have written a lot of stories, a lot of short stories, novel stories, in between, anything you want. And thinking about having a background in making films for quite some time now, it would be so sick to just go straight ahead and adapt one of my short stories, one of my films. And it's like, okay, well, doing Treasure is my trade as a film, long, short, whatever you want, even taking a segment from that would be pretty challenging. There's some really kind of like high concept stuff. But I have that one that we posted on Substack, which was, I think the subject heading was like, he was a CIA agent, I was the last person he saw alive. Like that one you could probably make in a weekend, and it's pretty tight, pretty cool. The biggest challenge would be getting some sort of limo. But I think that that's kind of the idea, is that with a short story, you can make a short story longer without really messing it up, but it's very hard to make a novel shorter without messing it up. And I think that that's kind of what people are getting at, is like, write the stories you want to see and get them out there to the public, and you're going to be getting people coming to look for them, hopefully. So I think that that's really encouraging and really exciting. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Other than just that it is encouraging, and it seems to be a cool way that the market and kind of the world of media is evolving, is that instead of looking for short films and players in that game, they're looking for short stories to buy IP, to buy characters. So it's like, if you can write a character and get people excited about it, show analytics like, whoa, this has how many followers, you have how many sales, okay, we're going to buy this, we're going to make this into a TV show. Like that seems to be the way of the future, which is encouraging and exciting, and gets me fired up, but particularly because every time I've been entering Amazon or whatnot and watching whatever in the last couple weeks, I keep coming back to, this is like a less good version of what you're doing, Nathaniel. Like this is a
Thanks, dude.
We're to spoil the topic, we're talking about Play Dirty today. We're going to discuss that movie. But genuinely, that was the most egregious example of like, dude, this is just a bad Nate Colt. Like, I mean, not bad. I don't want to say it's bad. I liked it a lot. I'll give it like 7, 8 out of 10. 7 or 8 out of 10. But I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I like reading Nate Colt better than I like watching this. It just seems like a better version, pacing-wise. Because I think this one was just overly long and just had some stuff that could have been cut that wouldn't have made it to a Nate Colt novel. But yeah, let's jump into Play Dirty. Then I want to start with your thoughts on it.
Well, I'll circle back to this because I had a very similar not that I was like, oh, this is just a less good something I would have written, because that would sound like super egotistical. But I had a thought about kind of that concept throughout. I actually talked with my wife about it we went on a walk afterwards, but we'll circle back to that. Dude, I thought it was really stinking good. It was,
Yeah.
there was like one or two things that happened that were just like pushing it off of being up there as like close to one of my favorites, because I thought it's kind of everything that you want. The opening was super cool with the first little like heist, and then there was a double cross, and then the intro was really neat with they did a really good job of making it look pulpy and kind of comic booky and having this stuff run, and it was very much the closest thing that I've ever seen to it would probably be like a James Bond intro. That's super cool. Like, because that's the thing, intros can be blasé for sure, but this one brought the heat, and if it had been able to stay closer to the intro, I think it would have been a slightly better movie. Like I said, I think both Luke and I are going to rag on this a little bit, but I'm going to be, well, I can only speak for myself. Anything that I say is coming from a place of, this is a 7.5 to 8.5 out of 10 for me. These are the 2 points it could have gotten that would have made it better. But yeah, what did you think?
I also give it 7 to 8 out of 10. I agree with that. I think what I said earlier, my biggest complaint is that it was just longer than it needed to be. At 2 hours and 8 minutes, I was like, this could have been an hour and 40 minutes, and I would have enjoyed it probably much more. There just seemed to be some pacing issues with me that I can't necessarily place my finger on. I just finished it like 15 minutes ago, so I need to like sit with it longer to be like, okay, this is when it started to lag. But I just feel like they could have done it in a shorter time. But it was really entertaining. The characters were all great. I mean, Shane Black wrote this, and he's one of my favorite writers. And kind of what we mentioned with Caught Stealing, in the keeping the audience guessing or doing a twist every couple of minutes. I liked that this story did have enough to keep you on your toes and enough stakes and things go wrong and double crosses. It really was a moving, ever moving and ever changing kind of script, which was interesting. It kept it fun.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get this out of the way with, for some reason, right in the like first 3 or 4 minutes, the girl takes off her clothes and she's wearing like a see-through bra for no reason at all. I just didn't understand what the point of that was at all. But I guess it was to distract people while she did something else. But I was like, what the heck? Why did that happen? So that was a little, I guess gratuitous is the correct word there. But my biggest issue with this movie across the board that I found to be kind of like challenging and pulled me out was the almost completely unnecessary CGI scenes that happened every once in a while that you kind of watch and you're like, what? I mean, even from the trailer, I think I saw the one with him going underneath the horse, and then a couple other things that happened with the horses, like people getting trampled, and I was like, bro, this does not look good. I don't know what's happening, but I was not expecting this. And then there's another scene where there's a train at a certain point, and for some reason, I think his name's Lakeith Stanfield, right? Fantastic actor. He played a really cool character. And Grover. I think his name is Grover Grofeld, which is crazy if that was true. But he was great. And he, for some reason, he ducks under this train instead of not going near it. my wife and I were talking after we watched it, and she was like, why did he do that? I was like, I don't know. They literally wrote the script so that they would throw this guy under a train and add one of the weirdest CGI scenes I've ever seen. Where like not only does the train CGI, but also they like CGI move him instead of actually having him slide. I was like, what am I watching here? Why did this happen? So those I think, if you were able to do those scenes better, I think it would have immediately given it one extra point of like quality, because there was probably like 5 or 6 things where I was like, what am I watching? Like, why did this happen?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I kind of initially, when I was first starting it, especially like, I guess we'll say light spoilers, we're not going to do any ginormous spoilers, but talking about like the intro there with the horses, my initial thought was like, oh, this is a cool different kind of set piece, and this movie is doing a lot of cool different set pieces that are big and bombastic, and that's kind of fun, that's kind of cool. But then to your point, it's like, oh, actually this is like really jarring to my eyes, and it's like taking me out of it. And the action's too big to where if like MCU is here, it's like here, and you're like, this is like taking me off of the jazz. Great soundtrack, by the way, like the jazz noir really vibes. Good. You're just ripping me out of that feel that you just worked so hard to get me into with the dialogue and the soundtrack and the costuming, and you're just, I don't know, it just like, messes with it when the action is not. I did not enjoy the action, to your point. Like, I think that my least favorite parts of this were the action, which should be the opposite. But I really enjoyed the character pieces, the dialogue, the style, the soundtrack. I enjoyed all the story beats. But when they really got into like a gunfight or a shootout, car chase type situation, the CGI distractingly bad, where I was like, ooh, I don't know, this is not fun for me.
Which is a huge bummer, because this movie has a ton of gunfights, and the gunfights themselves, I feel like, were handled pretty well. Like, it was always super sick, because Parker is a comprehensive man in the gunfight realm, and everywhere else I'm not sure I can vouch for the guy, but that dude knows how to shoot some people, and it was cool to see that. And it was also good because it did the thing that a lot of movies don't necessarily do well, where they like, Matt Helm gets on this all the time. He's always like, well, if you got a gun, don't talk, use the gun. And in here, Parker 100% used that gun like nobody's business. And so I thought that was super cool and well done. But to your point, exactly, it's like, man, this is the problem that kind of happens now that we've talked about before, is you have movies nowadays that have done the stunts so well and have done the big set pieces so well that even within the movie, if it happens and pulls you out of it, you get really jarred. So, I mean, a primo example is in John Wick 3. The whole entire first 4 quarters of the movie, like the whole thing is done really practically, done very well. And then they shoot him off of the top of the roof, and he falls like 6 stories, and he's bouncing off of the metal gates and stuff, and it may have been a real stunt, but it's enough that it just like almost rewrites the whole entire quality of the last 2.5 hours you've watched of him killing people. Real stunt work, real fantastic footwork, and fighting and shooting and handgun manipulation. You're like, man, that sucks. And then you kind of have the same thing now with any movie that's like a really solid entry into the action adventure world. If it doesn't have high quality stunts or the CGI is not quite right, I feel like it immediately gets relegated to a B movie. And this movie did not deserve that, I think. I think it deserved to have, because like you said, everything else came together really well, but just to have these 4 or 5 jarring action scenes is super disappointing. It shouldn't have happened.
And I think what is going to be helpful, and why I like I have hopes for Veritas and other smaller filmmakers, is that I think being creatively crunched into, we can't do this or that, brings you back to what was so great about like 70s thrillers and 70s versions of this, which there are. Like The Outfit with Robert Duvall is another adaptation of the Parker series, and that one has sick action. I mean, it's huge, bombastic, over-the-top action, but it's grounded and realistic, and it feels much more gritty and real, and not as, it doesn't jar you out of it in the same sense of, now that we can do anything, we're going to do everything, and we're going to derail a train, and we're going to do this and that. It's like, chill out. Make it smaller. Make the action smaller. It'll be just as impactful, I promise you.
Or if they had Nolan do it, and he would actually have really derailed the train.
Yeah, let's destroy the train.
Let's do it. So that's what I feel like, that's kind of the issue that fell into, is they had the budget, but they didn't have enough budget somehow. So it is, to your point, I feel like you either get to the full end of the spectrum where you've got that like $500 million budget, or you get to the base where you've got like, I don't know if you even have $1 million. Let's go get somebody's actual train and run it off of the tracks. Where the other guy's like, oh, let's build our train out of a Mack truck and trailer combo, and we'll just put a top on top. Because that's how they did the train scene where the train's driving through the streets of New York in Inception. So it's like, you
Nice.
have the resources to come up with a crazy thing. Other guys don't have the resources at all, and they really do the dang thing. So I think this movie fell at a weird middle ground. But I would say this film is probably my favorite Mark Wahlberg performance that I've seen in recent years. I don't know. There's some really good stuff. Like he was great in The Departed, and a couple other things that I know he was good in. But this one, I feel like he was really his Mark Wahlberg energy worked really well with this role. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that's a good point because your reaction, my reaction, a lot of people's reaction is like, okay, so Mark Wahlberg's gonna be Mark Wahlberg and a Parker. That's cool. Like, but I think watching it every time the story and the script and what was happening made me fear that like, okay, this is not Parker from the novel.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like he's too soft. Then they would immediately kind of double back and be like, okay, that's actually okay. That you did not stray too far from the book. I think you guys did really well. So I think Shane Black really did try to honor the heart of Parker, because again, no spoilers, so I won't be vague with this one, but you'll know what I'm talking about. When he started to talk about his story, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, we're gonna give him like a heart and a backstory. Don't do that. That's not Parker. But then they were able to do it where you're like, okay, that actually is nice work, nicely done, Shane Black. That's exactly what I would want to see. So I think they did soften him enough for like a modern audience to be not disturbed, because I think this is why I've only read one Parker novel, is reading the actual Parker and Hunter. I was like, I don't like this guy. Sucks. Like, I don't like this guy.
A son of a bitch. Like, there's no other way to put it. He's just a bastard, dude. He's a bad guy.
It's extremely well written. Nothing against Robert. Was it Westlake? Is his name Robert Westlake?
It's Donald Westlake.
Donald Westlake. Richard Stark. Nothing against him or his writing or his stories.
To that point, the outfit headquarters, when you first see it, with I think his name was Kincaid, rolls up and is talking to the girl. The name of the outfit, like shell company, is Westlake Company, or something like that. So,
nice catch.
I was surprised that I caught that. I was also surprised that they did that. But yeah, I couldn't agree more about the softness versus the actual Parker energy. And I remember saying that to my wife, because there was a couple things that happened that actually, it almost seemed like a soft sequel to Payback, right? Which I don't know if that's true or not, but I remember what's his name? Philly was our main man, Tom Jane, right?
Oh, yeah.
For no reason at all, he goes to talk to Philly's wife, and Parker's talking with her. And I was like, dude, this is like, I don't know if this is Parker energy. This is kind of too nice. And that's the thing. I wouldn't say that anything that Parker did in this was like soft in like a feminine way or not masculine way. Like, I feel like he stayed masculine and solid the entire time, but they did fight to make him a little more heroic than he would have been in the stories. Because to that point, I literally said to my wife, yeah, Parker's a bad dude. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, he punches women just as much as he punches men. And she's like, oh, what? And I was like, yeah, so I don't think they're going to make him that bad in this movie, because he's here talking with this woman and being nice to her. And she was like, yeah, I don't like that. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's the character he is, though. And this kind of can break down into another cool conversation that talks about the vastness of the men's adventure fiction genre, right? Like, we talked about this before countless times. You do have the aspirational men's adventure fiction characters who are really cool and very comprehensive in their masculinity. They're both like able to process when they need to be dark and take the situation to the next level. They're also able to have some grace and some mercy and compassion. And those are the guys that you can actually like. Those are the dudes you find within a Louis L'Amour book, or Chester Drum or Shel Scott kind of have that energy where you're like, okay, this guy is someone that I could possibly, I mean, maybe not Chet or Shel, possibly model my life on if you really were like desperate for a male role model. But then you've got kind of the middle ground of like the James Bonds and Mike Hammer, who you're like, well, there's some good things I can take from this that would be good to know and actually learn from, but I probably shouldn't make my whole life based on Mike Hammer because I would be a little trigger happy. And then you got the other end of the spectrum that is like Parker, who's like, there's probably nothing I can take from this guy that's good other than like it's good to be good at something. And another example would be Nolan, kind of characters like that who are very much just bad guys. They are criminals. They are endearing and they have a moral code to some degree, but they have no real reason to not kill anybody at any point. And that's not necessary. Like, I mean, in the books, the Parker books, to your point, in The Hunter, he literally beats someone up accidentally and kills them. And he's pissed off about that, not because he killed somebody. He doesn't care about that at all, but because it's now going to be inconvenient to deal with the body. So I think that's the kind of the shift is like, there's the people who kill somebody accidentally, like, damn, I just killed somebody accidentally. That's not good. And then there's the people who kill someone accidentally, like, this is just going to be more work for me to dispose of this body. Like, I got to go get my chainsaw now. So you got a total like shift of character. I don't even know where I was going with that, but
I mean, he definitely is kind of, I feel like, a true example of an anti-hero. You look at the Punisher, and it's like, I don't know if you can put those two in the same category.
Yeah, no.
I think if you're looking at what an anti-hero really is, if that is a thing, like, you know, maybe there's a different name for what Parker is, but these characters, there's a place for them for sure. It's like where you are kind of just like watching a villainous crook, dude. Like there's not trying to be a hero in the novels, especially like, I remember Hunter, again, this would be kind of a spoiler, but this is how the book opens, is literally his like girlfriend is dead in his apartment and he's just like chilling, eating and like talking on the phone and like just like hanging around her body, just completely unfazed. And I was like, this dude is next level. What is this guy? So from that moment, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to vibe with this guy. And that's why I only read one. And again, nothing against the character or him. I just prefer, to your point of like aspirational men's adventure fiction or more, you know, Thomas Magnum type characters, just more lighthearted fun in my kind of content diet mindset. I'm not trying to get a lot of that nihilistic dark energy going on here. But I do think it's fantastic. He's a fantastic character that has spawned a bunch of films that have all been really top notch. I mean, Lee Marvin played him in Point Blank.
Point Blank. Yeah. Dude, that one's really good, and that is a masterclass in sick styling too. So if the movie is pretty solid, it was a little underwhelming because the cover has got to be one of the coolest covers you've ever seen in history. We'll post it somewhere, but it's very, very cool cover. And then it was kind of a slower burn, late 60s action film.
Yeah,
I did not know
one of the best.
that Robert Duvall played him.
Dude, that one I think you would like a lot. It's a really good action movie. It's
very cool.
And it seems to be one of the most influential on what we just watched because he wears the same outfit as Robert Duvall.
Oh, yeah?
At a certain point, yeah.
Well,
and
really
they
cool.
keep referencing the outfit just like the movie's literally called The Outfit.
Yeah.
I know that's also one of the books as well, so it's not like just a reference to the movie. But I do think I felt a lot of influence from that.
Yeah, that's super, super exciting. I'll have to check that one out. I was going to explain the Parker story to my wife in the middle of it because they were talking about how 3 years ago he beat the outfit and now he had to stay out of New York and play dirty. And I was like, oh, I'll just tell her all this. And I said, well, if she's enjoying this at all, we can just watch the Mel Gibson Payback because that one's really stinking good. That one's really fun.
That's my favorite, I think. It's definitely, I think they do even a layer darker for Parker, and he's Porter in that, but I think that character is a bit of a darker version, and it's got, I don't know, I like it more for like story and character. All the stuff that I said I liked about Play Dirty, I feel like it emphasizes that. Like the soundtrack's great, the dialogue, the character work, and there isn't that same problem with the action being like, well, what are we doing here? The action's pretty grounded and contained and intense. When it happens, it's fewer and farther between. It's not an action movie by any stretch of the imagination, where this one is, I think. But I think I enjoy it more for all those other pieces where it felt like, I don't know, like that Richard Stark vibe of this is like dirty, it's grimy, the color grading is gross, like everything is kind of like, whoa, this is a weird world, and I love it.
Yeah. And you said there's 2 or 3 versions of that?
There's 2 that I know of. Yeah, there's, I think it might be called Straight Up Edition. It's called like Payback Straight Up. and that has like a different color grading. There's a different villain. It's kind of like completely a different movie in a lot of ways, in a lot of senses.
That's crazy.
I think I grew up so much with the theatrical cut that I liked it more, but I think there are a few people that like this straight up edition more. So
That's wild.
check out both and see what you think, but there are two different kind of versions of that movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I think that Parker is a very, for sure, nuanced character, and to the point that we've talked about, they did make it dark enough and true enough to the character that by the end of the movie, when I asked my wife what she thought of it, like give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, she said, I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 10 because they just killed everybody all the time. There was no concern for life. I was like, he's a criminal. What did you expect? So they did, to that point, there was a couple times I was watching it, I was like, and if he doesn't shoot this person, I think I'm going to be disappointed because they're going to be kind of, I don't know if whitewashing is the right word, but like gentrifying him.
Sterilizing this guy.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't. They did a good job of just killing people. So to that point, I mean, for better or for worse, for both the point of, I like this story and this character less than I would have because he's a bastard. 2, they stayed true to the story. They did a great job of doing that. I mean, it's funny that I would have liked him more if he was a good guy, but having the background and knowing who Parker is, I would have been super pissed if they'd shifted him at all. So they did a good job. And let's talk a little bit about the old MacGuffin for this movie. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is what gave me the Nate Colt vibes and stuff. Is we ended up talking about treasure and maps, and I think that was a great thing to see on a big scale, like Amazon #1 spot. Like to see high adventure being touched on in a noir is like, oh, thank goodness! Like this is what the world needs. But that's why I said that thing about, wow, this is basically Nate Colt, but with a different character I don't like as much, because that's what you do so well. And I said it from the beginning when I first read your writing. I thought you were a noir guy. I had no idea. I read You're Welcome, Ralph, and I was just like, whoa, this guy's like the modern Chandler. This is the coolest thing of all time. He's a great noir guy. And then I come to find out you write action and adventure and high adventure more than anything. And it's like, whoa, the way you mix those worlds is the best that there is. And this,
thanks, man.
Doing a version of that got me hyped to see that, and again gives me hope that I really think that your kind of work and your character is next in line to be what we're going to see on Amazon in the future, because I would love to see a Nate Colt film, and I know if this thing worked, that film would work. Like I would bet my life on that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I thought it was really cool. I was hoping that they were going to heist in a different country, because of the way they set it up. It seemed like they might be able to actually go after the treasure and like transit in the South American country that they didn't give a name to. But it all took place in New York for the most part, which I thought was still really cool. But to that point, I think that that's kind of where it would have shifted for me. Is this was a noir with high adventure flavorings, whereas mine would be a high adventure with noir flavorings if I were to write it. But I still think that it was really cool. If you guys have seen the trailers, you know that this is what it is. But they basically say the heist is we're going to rob a whole entire country of all of its wealth. And it's because this small South American nation found a lost treasure at the bottom of the sea. And they're piecing it up, and it's going to be over like $700 million or something like that. So really cool to have them going after some treasure, dude. You gotta love it when treasure makes an appearance. So I thought that was really, really neat. And this is my headcanon, so you may not like this, but in my mind...
Is he Sully right now? Is that what we're about to do?
Dude, Parker is Victor Sullivan. Yes, this is the same guy from Uncharted, which makes that guy in Uncharted much cooler. And there was 4 or 5 things that he did in this movie where I was like, dude, that is a Sully move through and through. So... It actually, this movie retconned Mark Wahlberg's performance in the Uncharted movie for me as actually being pretty decent, because it wasn't too bad when you think of him as being the same guy. Sully's a little nicer,
but Sully does also still have that edge, especially in the games of, I mean, right from the rip, you're like, dude, is this guy a backstabber? Like, his money troubles seem to be putting him in a place where he's fine being the ultimate crook guy. So I thought that was really cool. And it would be sick to, I mean, Parker's got a bunch of different aliases, dude. You don't know. And Nathan Drake in that movie was working in downtown New York City at the bar when Parker walked in. So, dude, there you go. Craziest thread of real life, like massive.
Well, I definitely did say that to my wife last night when we started it. I was like, "Is Mark Wahlberg just trying to make Uncharted again?" When I realized like it was going to be kind of high adventure and there was going to be treasure, I was like, "Dude, he's just trying to redo his mistake here." Like, dude, I really want to do a treasure hunting movie, please.
He was supposed to be Nathan Drake for years, right? Like that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that he was attached to Uncharted probably from like, I don't know, 2012 on. And every year when I would look up, when's the Uncharted movie coming out? It would be like, Mark Wahlberg is playing Nathan Drake. And I was like, I don't.
Dude, that was me with freaking Tom Hardy and Splinter Cell. When's that movie coming out? Never.
The video game movie pre-production mire is truly a horrific thing. But I was a little disappointed. And then come 2015, 2016 or something, like, all right, well, Tom Holland's playing him now. And Mark Wahlberg is still attached. I was like, what are they going to do with Mark Wahlberg? Because while it's hard to view Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake, that's much easier to do than viewing him as Sully. But somehow they kind of pulled it off, especially now.
Point. Honestly, while he would have made a better Nathan Drake, like I wouldn't have minded that too much.
He probably would have.
I think that'd be that weird.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have been my number one choice for Nathan Drake, but he would have been better than him being
Other than
Sully.
You, who would you cast as Nathan Drake, dude?
Dude, tough question.
I know there's that Nathan Fillion guy. Is that who everyone wanted, or am I thinking of the wrong guy?
That is
there's like a guy that everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that who you wanted, or are you a different guy?
If he had been younger, maybe. He did a really cool short film on YouTube. I guess he funded it himself, and it's like 15 minutes long. It's really sick. Yeah. So he did a good job. He would have been a good one, but he's also too old, just like Mark Wahlberg is. I don't know, dude. Brandon Sklenar would have been sick. I don't know if he's a little more like brooding, but I think he does have the kind of like happy-go-lucky, if he wanted to work on it, less swashbuckler energy he could bring to the table. Thinking like in Drop, he had a pretty good range of personality where he was like, okay, well, I'm going to go. And he was like a little more self-deprecating. But dude, I don't know. Who could play Nathan Drake is a really tough question.
Austin Butler did.
I was just thinking that
he have been
doesn't
good?
have the right hair color, but yeah, he probably would have been sick.
You got to dye his hair.
I remember seeing when I was younger and before I had really gotten on the Tom Cruise train, I saw the back cover of a Mission Impossible 1. And I think it's where Ethan's wearing like the fireman outfit and he's wearing a short sleeve shirt and he's holding like a knife up against the wall and he's got like his biceps look freaking massive.
Huge.
And I was like, and he had the shorter Nathan Drake hair. I was like, dude, I wish that the Mission Impossibles had just been Uncharted. Like, I wish they had fully committed to that because that would have been pretty cool. But older Tom Cruise wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know. Bradley Cooper could have done a good job, probably, but he's also pretty old at this point. So I don't know who it would be. I think it's to circle to.
It's gotta be Tom Holland, dude.
Yeah, it's got to be Tom Holland. James Bond. I heard reports. Now I don't know if this is true because I've also heard reports that they're really eyeing. What's his name? Jacob Elordi. But somebody said, I think Denny said that he wanted to go with an unknown. So we'll see. Yeah. It would be super cool if he did go with an unknown that kind of brought.
I like Jacob Elordi though, dude. I would definitely take a 6'6" James Bond. Let's go.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Jaws comes up to him and he's towering over Jaws. That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. One of the Veritas authors, Austin Lee Turner, was talking about that. He said, like, it's so funny that in every movie, the good guy's got to fight the bigger guy and the bigger guy and the bigger guy. And he said, like, he wants to write something where at the end he goes to fight the final guy and it's like a guy who's like 3 or 4 inches shorter than him and a lot smaller, and he has to figure out how to win as the overdog because the underdog always wins. And that's a really great concept. And I guess we'll see that come to fruition with Jacob Elordi. He's just like
Hey,
goes
just
to
the
step in
absolute
and
beefcake John, or not beefcake, but like tall as heck Amazon Bond. Amazing.
too funny. Which is funny because the Amazons are like the classically like big warrior women, so he's
Yeah.
like the Amazon Bond. Too funny. Yeah, but I think Play Dirty was really good. My
Yeah,
biggest
definitely a solid
concern
movie.
is that it wasn't good enough to get a sequel because we
You
already
don't
know
think it's
that.
gonna get? That would be devastating, dude.
Well, I mean, I think Nice Guys is better than this, and Nice
Right,
Guys
for sure.
doesn't have a sequel. And is that
But
because
it's a money
it was
game,
written?
dude. That's a money game, though.
How so?
You know what I mean? Like
I don't.
studios aren't gonna produce it not because it's not a good movie, but because it didn't make them enough money. Like that was a huge flop at the box office.
Gotcha. Oh, I did not know that.
This is number one on Amazon.
Yeah.
So if
yeah.
it, I don't
That
know
is
how they
cool.
determine on the back end. If it does make
That's
them
so
money,
interesting.
yeah, like then they'll.
I didn't realize
definitely
Nice
greenlight it.
Guys was a flop. That sucks.
Yeah,
'Cause
dude,
that
it was
movie
a
is.
pretty big flop.
I think that movie's like gotta be 10 out of 10, right? That's just fantastic
It's
all around.
dude, it might be the Shane Black's best. He made Lethal Freaking Weapon though, so it's hard to say
Yeah.
that. But dude, this guy loves Christmas. By the way, I was thinking about that
He
because
does
Lethal
love
Weapon's Christmas. Nice Guys
This
has some
movie-
Christmas. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang has Christmas. Play Dirty has Christmas. Last Boy Scout has Christmas. Dude, what are we doing here? Stop
He's the Christmas
making movies
man.
in Christmas. Stop.
I know
it. Knock it off.
That is the one negative to his movies is you're like, oh man, I could really go for Lethal Weapon, and you're like, damn it, it's May, I can't watch that for another
And you
7
got
months.
the ding dong is the month, and you're just no, it's
No,
not.
wait, no, hold on, it's not the most. Yeah,
It's not the most wonderful time of the year yet.
They sang a Christmas Carol in this one too. I can't remember what it was though. But yeah, that's good news. If I didn't think about it in that way, I just thought about it in like, if it's not getting the critical reception, it's not making.
I'm gonna
it
look
to a
at how much
sequel.
money the Nice Guys lost for you real quick.
Because this is super exciting if that is the case, because I would be excited to see them continue Parker with Mark Wahlberg, because it was good, and there was lots of action that was solid, even with the action that wasn't solid. Like even within the same scene, the shootouts would be fire, and then you'd have like a crazy CGI set piece that would slip in, and you'd be like, why did we do that?
So it was still considered a flop, but it didn't like lose gigantic money. But its
Okay.
budget was 50 million, and it only made 62 million. And so for them,
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like not enough
Yeah,
of a
definitely
profit
not.
because it like just barely covered their budget. So
Dude, let's talk a little bit about flops. You saw this. This is off topic of Play Dirty, but you saw the Smashing Machine.
yeah, I
What'd
saw
you
the
think?
Smashing Machine, which is
Give us a
apparently a
quick
huge
overview.
flop, right?
Apparently, dude, I saw that it was like 50 million was its budget, and its opening weekend made only 6 million. So
Whoa,
yeah, that is not good. But
whoa.
it's like usually a huge success critically. I think I have not heard a negative thing about it at all from the critic side of stuff. But
Interesting.
crazy, dude. So what did you think of it?
So I think what everyone's talking about, The Rock's performance, like acting wise, super sick. I think he did really, really well. And the
Yeah.
prosthetic team needs to get their raise because they definitely made him look different. That was one of the cooler experiences in a theater to have The Rock, who's like one of the most recognizable, iconic
Yeah, dude.
people in my generation. And I'm at times looking at the screen, forgetting that it's The Rock, genuinely. Like, to have
That's
that kind
crazy.
of voodoo and magic and
Yeah.
witchcraft happen on the screen, I'm like, okay, they did their job. Like, the director did his job, the makeup crew did his job, the prosthetics, The Rock, everyone was working together to make this happen, where my brain shut off for a second thinking, that's not The Rock, that's Mark Kerr.
Yeah.
And then, so I thought that was like the most impressive bit to me, was the acting and the transformational abilities for The Rock. But overall, I was a little just like underwhelmed throughout the movie. Like me and my friend Caden saw it, and afterwards we were like, did that movie suck or was it good? I can't tell. You know, it was one of these experiences where I was like, that wasn't like bad, but it was so just underwhelming.
Yeah, like
I saw like a
classic
thumb.
Oscar vibes.
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail that really summed my thoughts up perfectly. Where it was like the smash machine, the smash hit machine. It was like MEH. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
meh, you know. Like I wanted it to focus more on the sport, and
Right.
I wanted it to be more of a sports drama. I love those. I love combat sports movies in particular, and it just kind of like there for sure were fights, and there was one a training montage ish, but it did not have any concern for that. It just wanted to kind
Yeah.
of do the family drama like
Right, right.
angle, and it
Like
was
the Stars
overall
Born angle.
yeah. But even Stars Born was my favorite movie of that year, and that was way more entertaining than this. Like this was
Right.
just meh. Like I don't know, I can't put my finger on what it was, but this movie just had like low energy. Like it was just kind of like low impact, low energy. I think its biggest loss is how realistic it was trying to be. I think it tried to follow the documentary so closely,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
wanted to be so faithful that it's like, yeah, but real life and like documentaries do not play as well as cinema and like
Right.
movies, which are bigger and bombastic. Like I
Right.
want the speeches, I want the cheesy, I want the overcut, like I want that. And this was so realistic that it kind of, I don't know, it reminded me a lot of Foxcatcher. Like I had the same kind of vibes with Foxcatcher, where it was a movie about this really interesting story in the wrestling world, and I saw that movie and I was just kind of like, okay, I don't want to watch that again. But that was
Yeah, I don't care.
really good acting. So overall, that was like a 5-ish. If I'm being nice, 6 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Dang.
For me.
Yeah, that is rough. Not as bad as a 4 out of 10 for Play Dirty from my wife though.
Yeah, dude, not that bad. I don't know.
But yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I was interested in seeing it because it looks like it would be super cool to see The Rock actually play a role instead of just be Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to see it in theaters, and I was probably it would take a while for me to see it just because I don't know. The existential dread that's baked into a movie like that, especially knowing that it's kind of like Oscar worthy. It just seems like it's going to be very much of like, okay, this guy tries to become a success, he gets to be a success, then there's issues that happen along the way, and since it's an Oscar movie, you know that it's just going to be like way too. Like you said, I really also liked A Star Is Born, but A Star Is Born has a clear formula, right? Like you watch that movie and you see exactly kind of what's happening. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, she jumps to massive success and then something has to happen. Otherwise, it would just keep going up and there would be no tension at all. So it seemed like the negatives of A Star Is Born, and so I'm happy to hear that I don't have to go spend money at the theater to see it
Yeah.
because it's like the best movie of the year.
If
But
you're really into like muted and subtle stuff, we go for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you and I are into that. We like bigger,
Not really.
bombastic stuff for sure.
Yeah. That, I mean, apparently, so does most of the population, because, dude, 6 million to the
That's brutal.
60 million or 50 million, whatever it is, that's
I
tough.
can't understand that, dude. Why? I mean, I get that it wouldn't be
Yeah.
like some huge success, but what are we doing here? Doesn't the UFC have a huge fan base? Can't you go see the movie for that?
Well, I
My
also
theater
don't
was
understand.
extremely small. Was
Was it
the one I went
filled
to
up?
see it in. Yeah. Not really. I mean, there was like a couple other people, but we saw it on Thursday, and there was like maybe 10 people total in the theater.
Dang. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, this just gets to something that I think about a lot, and this can kind of circle us back to Parker and Play Dirty and just filmmaking in general is what are they doing with all that money, dude? $50 million? Like,
It's crazy.
maybe it is just what you say where, like, one, you don't have the money, you're able to figure out ways to do it. But I can't imagine if you gave me $1 million, that would be enough money to make, like, the best movie of all time. At least, like, production value-wise. You may flub it in some sort of, like, messing up the story or messing up a shot or something like that. But actually, like, getting the stuff that it would take to make a movie, dude, I feel like with the people I know, we could make if you gave us $1 million, we would make the highest production value movie of all time with crazy stunts and stuff. So I just don't understand where this money is going. I guess a big chunk of that had to go to The Rock, right? Because he's a big biller. But I don't know. I mean,
I'm sure he took a pay cut as well, right? I mean, he had to have. If
I don't
not,
know.
this would be. I mean, it would be over. You would have 50. Dude, I mean, how much does he get paid for a movie? Like
Yeah, I have no idea. Probably. I remember seeing the Manchurian Candidate from 1970 or whenever it was with Frank Sinatra, and I was reading about it, and that movie had a $2 million budget, and Frank Sinatra's pay was $1 million, and the other actor was $50,000. And that was the payout for the movie. So we could have one of those scenarios here with this movie. It's like it's like a $50 million budget, and $40 million of it goes straight to The Rock, and then the rest is like the $10 million just to make the movie. So I don't know how that breaks down, because that's a good point. Like, if that's what the money is being spent on, then by all means, I guess do it. But I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is a great question that I don't have the answer to. I mean, I know movies are expensive. I know actors are expensive. I know permits are expensive. I know insurance is expensive. I know, what is it, like locations and all. There's so many different things that we're not even thinking about. But to your point, some of these budget numbers, you're like, what? How's that even? Like, where are you putting that? That is insane.
Final Reckoning was $400 million, right? Like,
I guess you do have to pay like the crews and stuff too, and there's like 1,000 dudes on that crew. I mean, the credits go on for 15 minutes, so who knows, man?
And like, the only with a movie like Mission Impossible, where you're doing the plane sequence and you have to reshoot some of that, like, that makes sense. That's probably like $100 million a day to film.
$100 million is probably Tom Cruise's budget a day.
yeah. So, but I don't know, dude. That is like excessive money to the point that I can't even really fathom that, right? Like, your regular guy is struggling to make it to $500,000 to $1 million in the bank account, and these guys are throwing. I mean, that's what I was struck with thinking of Parker and Play Dirty, when they're like, yeah, the score is $500 million for this figurehead for the ship, and I was like, bro, that's like, just make a movie and you'll make just as much money, because that's how much money the freaking Mission Impossible movie cost, like $400 million to make that movie. And that's like, somehow as a viewer, we're supposed to suspend our disbelief to think like, oh, well, Mark Wahlberg definitely would want to make $500 million by doing crime, because he couldn't make it any other way. And there's no way. That's not true. Mark Wahlberg's net worth is probably way over that. So it's like very jarring when I came to the realization, like, dude, this is barely a budget for a movie, is the treasure that they're trying to find. I was like, what am I watching right now? Like, how is this the world that we live in? $500 million is not what it used to be.
This is why I believe strongly in indie filmmaking, and how, like, the 70s cinema to me is like some of the best movies ever, dude. And so I think we're really going to see more of that come to the forefront, and Veritas is going to be giving vehicles to those types of stories, and it's going to be cool to see
very exciting
the indie world take back its portion and like its respect, or I guess viewership, from the absolute overbloated, like totally studio driven. Especially, you know, it was brought to my attention recently that this never occurred to me, that it's really tech companies that are running film now, because it's Apple and it's Amazon. It's like these huge tech companies run. So it's like this us versus them cool, like, it's a fun environment to get yourself into, is like the indie filmmaking versus the tech giants, because it just feels like David and Goliath. But also what comes from it is like really good, energetic storytelling and filmmaking that is, to me, reminiscent of the 70s, which is my favorite era of film. So that's why I'm a huge believer in Veritas and what we're doing, and every filmmaker who's doing the same type of thing of trying to get boots on the ground to fight against the tech giants who are just like making all the movies for bazillions of dollars, dude, and just keeping their little game going.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree more. I mean, even right now, I think about this on the regular. Not that I think that it'll happen, but someone picks up a copy of Treasure Is My Trade or a copy of Fighting Heart of Man, and they're like, dude, Nate Colt's sick, I want to make this character. And then it would be very hard for me to say yes, because one, I probably wouldn't get to play him, and I can't think of anybody. We were talking about who would play Nathan Drake. There's even less options for who would play Nate Colt. I got nothing on that front. And then the second thought that I was thinking of this whole time is like, all right, let's say in a perfect world, right? Amazon reads this book, because I work for Amazon, so somehow I meet Bezos and I give him the book, right? He's like, all right, well, I want you to play this role. and I want to tell your story. And he's like, you can play the character. And I thought about that, dude. And watching Play Dirty, it was more clear to me than it's ever been before that if I got to play Nate Colt in a Hollywood production, all right, let's say all the cards align, it happens, I'm a good enough actor to pull it off. That already is crazy. But then you get to the point, they are not going to let me do the stunts I want to do. They are going to pull in the random ass CGI train that's going to ruin the whole. If they make a Nate Colt movie, I will not like it. You know what I mean? Like it'll be, I'll have all the same complaints I have about this Parker movie, about whatever big production house makes Nate Colt. And I think that that's the problem. I mean, unless like Tom
well said,
Cruise.
For sure. Yeah, unless
Cruise
you get some
right?
boutique filmmaker who's like John Wick style,
Yeah,
or we're going to do this boots on the ground.
Christopher Nolan, who both are like Chaz Stahelski, Tom Cruise, and Christopher Nolan are the guys who are like, yeah, we're doing this practical. And then nobody's going to spend that money on little old me's random first intro into filmmaking, right. Writing, acting, whatever it is. So it's like the only way to do this stuff that you want. We've come to the point where they're just making almost exclusively B movies. Like the movies that used to be A movies, even the Marvel movies that were really good, all of them are going straight into this like $5 bin at Walmart kind of energy. You know,
like think about this. This is a straight to streaming movie that has this budget, that has this value, dude. That has these actors. That is insane. It is weird. It is weird what's happening to film.
It is weird. And that's the thing is it's like they haven't realized the value of actually doing things the way they used to be done. Like, I mean, today, if you gave me one of the serials from the 1930s, 40s in theaters right now, I would pay so much money to go see that. You know, like if it's literally Austin Butler running around with like a $900,000 budget, punching people and swinging on ropes, or whatever. What was his name? Giacomo, who was a stuntman, just an absolute stud, and starts doing this stuff. You know, like give me stuntman 1 and put him as the leading role in a movie, and just like give Scott Adkins the chance to play a good role and make it an absolutely nutso thing, and it'll only cost like $2 million because he's not that big of a billing star. And I think that that's what they haven't realized is they're like, okay, maybe in the midst of all the AI schlock that's coming out and people not seeing stuff and people believing that, the studios are thinking like, okay, well, we can just throw them in front of a green screen and they're going to eat that up. And they don't realize that people are not eating that up anymore. People want reality in their storytelling, you know, to have something that you watch and you're immediately like, that is not real. There is no buy-in there. It just falls flat. So I don't know. While we are right on the cusp of, like we said, 9 out of the 10, or 6 out of the 10, 70% of the stuff is men's adventure fiction on the top 10, dude, it's still like, why am I watching a green screen? Give me the real thing. Bring the actual energy. So, interesting stuff.
It is weird. I'm also very confused about the Smashing Machines flop, because to your point, I mean, like, it doesn't get more real than that. Yeah, I don't understand what we're doing here. What do people want?
What do people want?
I don't know. What do you want? But hey, I'm happy that this movie was made and that, like, Play Dirty was a thing. Yeah. I think they did it as well. To your point, you wouldn't like a Nate Colt movie if they made it. I think that's actually a great point, that it's a true point. So I think, I don't know who said this, but this is for sure a quote that has been tossed around of like, any movie that gets made is like a minor miracle, if not a major miracle. Yeah. And so for this to like come in the form that it did, where it's like, well, this is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, hey, we got that is great. That is great news that the Amazon didn't mess it up so bad, or this producer didn't mess up so bad that it's like, what is this? The fact that we can both say, man, every time I was worried that they were about to put Parker's like tough edge masculinity on the line, they let me sigh of relief and be like, okay,
they killed somebody.
We're good. Okay, dude, 100%. There's a scene, I'm again not going to spoil it, but you might know what I'm talking about, out in the cold, where I was like, I don't think he would, and then I was like, okay, he didn't. That's good. That's good. I was like, if you're about to go this way with that makes no sense. That's really good. So I'm happy with how this thing turned out. I think Shane Black still crushing it. One of my favorite screenwriters for sure. He's
the man. Hopefully we get a sequel. Hopefully they give him a little more control. I don't know how much control he had, but it would be cool to see it a little more. It would be cool if Mark Wahlberg started getting pissed and started taking the old Tom Cruise approach. He's like, no, this is my Mission Impossible. I'm going to make these stunts actual.
He's a big time producer already, so hopefully, maybe that'll happen because he
let's also
throws
talk
money
about
around.
That dude's a stud, dude. Jacked.
He's jacked, man.
Yeah,
Jacked.
I remember watching him before and thinking like, yeah, Mark Wahlberg's the man. And then there was a period of time where he wasn't that jacked, and then all of a sudden he just became like one of the most muscular movie stars. And he's like baseline that way. He's always muscular.
I sent you that absolute beefcake version of him young. And, dude, people forget when he was a Calvin Klein model, dude, one of the craziest looking physiques ever, dude.
Yeah, he
humongous shoulders. Just like a six-pack. Like, guy was a beast.
Yeah,
and then to your point, there were some rules where he lost his muscle or got fat, like for Father Stew and stuff like that. Like, he tries to do the whole, like, varying body thing. But when he's trying to get jacked, dude, the guy's disciplined. I mean, he's got that cool Instagram post where he talks about how, like, wake up at 4 a.m. I pray for 2 hours and freaking get shredded. Like, he just has the craziest little routine. So props to Mark Wahlberg.
He's pretty cool. I think when utilized right, he's a great actor. But a lot of people are just like, all right, go be Mark Wahlberg. But
he's got that Dwayne Johnson energy where he's typically just, all right, I'm going to do my charisma thing. I'm a charismatic dude. I'm going to be Mark Wahlberg. Here we go.
But he is a good Parker, and hopefully we see him as more Parkers. And I was thinking that you dropping this on you on the spot. Any recommendations for end segment based off of this? I can go first while you think.
I definitely want to recommend The Outfit, starring Dylan O'Brien and who I don't know, Mark Rylance, I think is the actor's name. But like, dude, that movie, The Outfit, fantastic follow up to this. It's set in like the 50s, 60s, something like that. So different vibe, but very much so like Chicago Mafia, jazz, one location. Feels like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's one of my favorites. So I think when I was watching this movie, it made me want to go back and rewatch The Outfit.
Very cool. You've recommended that before, so I've gotta check it out. Because it sounds amazing. And someone actually recommended that to me in Colorado as well. So I really got to get on my game on this one. And isn't that the theme song you used for the You're Welcome Ralph post that you did?
I think so. Yeah. Because the soundtrack in that movie is amazing. There's very few times that I find myself like listening to soundtracks as I drive, but The Outfit was one of them. I was just listening to that for weeks afterwards. This is great.
Awesome.
This is it.
Awesome. My recommendation is over here, and it could just be because of there's no first name, there's just a last name, and we're talking Carver, dude, A Paris Story by Carver,
very upside down Carver
by Chris Hunt, dude, who is the guy behind Code of the West. He also
on Instagram
did this fantastic story, and Carver is the man, dude. I almost finished it a little while ago, and I finished it on vacation, and it is fantastic. He is another prime example of that riding the line of hero versus anti-hero. He's a little more heroic than Parker is, but he is just absolutely a stud, a man who has no qualms with doing what needs to be done, no matter what it is. And this book is really, really good. I think it says at the end, Carver will return. But, I mean, just look at the cover. We talked about it before.
It's absolutely gorgeous, dude. Look at that. I mean, that artwork is exactly what you want. It's so cool.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's just, like, look at this. Just knifing people, dude. So sick.
Yeah.
Highly recommend this. Check it out. It would be really cool for that to become a movie one day. Don't know if it will, but Carver's the man.
There's also several Parker graphic novels that have very sick art as well.
And
I haven't gotten my hands on any of them, but
comment on your Instagram post about comics, and he said that the Parker novels inspired a lot of his writing for Carver. I think.
I believe so. Yeah, because you could tell that there's great recommendation for a reason. Like, they have very similar vibes. If you like this, you will like this kind of thing. Like, they're really great companion pieces. And sure. I love that. To your point, they did the intro like they did it. That's
cool.
Really cool.
So cool. But yeah, check it out. Let us know in the comments what you think of Play Dirty, and maybe we should do. I'll try and watch the Robert Duvall Outfit, and we can do a little list of our Parker, our favorite Parker
Jason
film.
Statham was Parker too.
That's what I was about to say. Jason Statham.
Parker.
Too much, dude. Too funny. It would be so funny if Parker was similar to James Bond, where the movies just like take place after each other, and they like are supposed to be sequels.
The same guy.
Yeah, you got Lee Marvin,
Weren't
Robert
you British?
Duvall,
What is going on here?
Mel Gibson, Jason Statham, and Mark Wahlberg. Dude, this is a pretty prolific character.
Jim Brown as well.
Yeah.
Jim Brown played him in a movie called The Split or something like that.
Dang, dude,
I was looking it up yesterday. I was like, how many movies are there?
That's crazy. Yeah, we gotta watch them and break down which
Jim
ones.
Brown Parker movie. Let me look this up real quick for you guys. Stay with me. It's called The Split. Yeah, it's called The Split. Jim Brown stars as McClane in the 1968 heist film The Split, which is based on the Richard Stark novel The Seventh. So,
Dude, crazy.
There you go, dude.
Who would have thought that this guy? This is what's cool. It's like people want the pulp. They want the old Men's Adventure. They want the old stories that were so sick back in the day. And I mean, clearly, Parker has had 6 to 8 films made about him.
Yeah.
So it's coming back. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep writing stuff. Make those short stories. Publish them somewhere. Next thing you know, we'll be seeing your movie in the theaters.
Right.
And hopefully they won't mess it up with the CGI. We can pray.
Yes. All right, guys. Take care. It was a fun episode. Guys,
Sure.
let us know what you think for sure about Play Dirty and Parker as a whole. Very interested in knowing that.
Got a doctor's appointment for man. Weak man. Yikes. Now, I think I already know the issue. Please, what's going on?
Well, I just been not feeling like the man I should be. My wife has to unscrew the pickle jar for me. I can't crack an egg. I can't even do a push-up. Not even with my knees on the ground. Business started deteriorating about 3 days ago. I used to have chest hair. It's not around anymore. I used to be able to do 1 pull-up. Can't do any now. Actually, can't even hold on to the bar. When I sweat, it smells like roses. I don't know what's going on, boss.
Oh, man, I've seen this before, and I know exactly what to do, don't worry. Now, you've got a particularly strong case of weak man syndrome, so I'm gonna have to prescribe you 3. I would never do this typically, you only need 1. Body part of the man. Not a tall grass. And particularly potent. Treasured by trade. Now, these Veritas Entertainment books are all you need. Tell me anything. Careful with these. Damn, Doc. I feel better already. Read Veritas Entertainment and become the man you were meant to be. Read Veritas today.
Veritas Entertainment would like to remind viewers that this program is pure satire. Our books are not FDA approved, AMA endorsed, or recognized by your mom as a legitimate medical treatment. However, it has been said Veritas readers may experience the following totally unverified and possibly imaginary side effects. 30% increase in chest hair density, exact percentage may vary, sudden craving to chop wood shirtless, 2 to 3 more dates per week, plus 200 pounds to your bench press, the uncontrollable urge to unbutton the first several buttons of your shirt, instinctively knowing how to grill anything, including salad, a voice that drops half an octave, the ability to parallel park in one smooth motion while maintaining eye contact with onlookers, a statistically significant improvement in beard thickness even in readers who haven't hit puberty or are women, sudden knowledge of Magnum PI and Tom Selleck. Side effects are permanent, hilarious, and not covered by insurance. Read responsibly.